What if Apple's most affordable new iPhone is actually their biggest ripoff yet? The iPhone 16e has finally arrived, and millions of people are being told that it's the smart, sensible choice for anyone who wants a taste of that exclusive Apple lifestyle without completely emptying their bank account. It's supposed to be the entry ticket, the open door to the walled garden. But today, we're going to expose why that might be a damn lie. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what's hiding behind that familiar logo and the slick marketing. Is the iPhone 16e genuinely a good value, or is it just a cynical collection of outdated parts, recycled ideas, and deliberate compromises, all packaged in a shiny new case designed to trick you? The truth is far more shocking than you think, and by the end of this, you'll see why this phone might be the worst deal Apple has offered in years. Let's get one thing straight right away. The E in iPhone 16e does not stand for economic. It doesn't stand for entry level either. After you see the facts, you might start to think it stands for expensive or, even worse, exploited. The moment you look at the price tag, the entire story Apple is trying to sell you begins to fall apart. This is not a budget phone. This isn't some cheap device meant to compete with low-cost Androids. Instead, Apple has priced this phone squarely in the competitive and crowded mid-range market, a place where you should expect a lot for your money. But with the 16e, you're not getting a lot. You're getting a list of things Apple decided you didn't need, a checklist of features they intentionally left out. You're paying a near premium price for a device that is packed with significant, noticeable, and frankly insulting compromises. This phone reveals a core conflict in Apple's strategy. It's a device that asks for a serious financial commitment, but doesn't offer the modern features to justify it. The narrative isn't about how Apple is making its technology more accessible, it's about seeing just how much they can take away from a phone before people stop buying it. And it seems they think you're willing to give up a whole lot.
But the price is just the beginning of this story. The very first insult is the one you'll be staring at every single day, every time you pick up the phone. It's the screen. In a world where technology moves at lightning speed, Apple has made a decision with the iPhone 16e's display that is nothing short of indefensible. They gave it a 60 Hz refresh rate. Let's be perfectly clear about what that means. A 60 Hz screen refreshes its image 60 times per second. For years, this was the standard, but that standard is now ancient history for virtually every other phone maker on the planet. For the same price as the iPhone 16e, and in many cases for hundreds of dollars less, you can buy an Android phone with a 120 Hz display. That means the screen refreshes 120 times per second, resulting in motion that is buttery smooth, fluid, and responsive. The difference isn't subtle. It's something you feel instantly, scrolling through your social media feeds, swiping between apps, even just navigating the home screen. It all feels snappier and more modern on a 120 Hz display. On the 60 Hz screen of the 16e, you get a choppy, laggy feeling experience that makes a brand new, expensive phone feel old the second you take it out of the box. Think about that. You can walk into a store, buy a Samsung Galaxy S24 FE or a Google Pixel 8a for less money and get a screen that is literally twice as smooth. Apple knows this. They use 120 Hz Pro Motion displays on their Pro models. They are fully aware that 60 Hz is a massive technological compromise. They just decided that it was a compromise you, the 16e customer, would have to live with.
If what you see on the screen is a profound letdown, what you can capture with the phone is an even bigger and more significant compromise. Apple's marketing will draw your attention to the back of the phone, and they'll want you to think it's a step forward. But when you look closer, you'll see a single, lonely camera lens staring back at you. This is the one-eyed wonder, or perhaps the one-eyed blunder. Apple will boast that it's a 48-megapixel main sensor, and on paper, that number sounds impressive. In good lighting, it will probably take a decent photo. But the megapixel count is a distraction, a piece of marketing sleight of hand designed to make you ignore what's truly missing. For the same amount of money, nearly every single one of the iPhone 16e's competitors gives you a full, versatile triple camera system. They give you a main lens, an ultra-wide lens, and a telephoto lens. Those aren't just frivolous extras. They are fundamental tools for modern photography. With an ultra-wide, you can capture stunning, epic landscape shots, or fit your entire group of friends into a photo without having to back up 20 feet. With a telephoto lens, you can zoom in on distant subjects with optical clarity, getting crisp, detailed shots from afar. The iPhone 16e gives you none of that. You get one field of view. Any attempt to zoom in will be a grainy, pixelated digital crop. Any attempt to get a wider shot is simply impossible. Apple has put a hard limit on your creativity. You are paying more money for less creative freedom. It's a cynical decision that cripples the phone's utility as a camera, forcing anyone anyone who cares about photography to either spend hundreds more on a pro model or, more wisely, to look at a competitor that respects their desire to capture the world in more than one way. But Apple saved perhaps the most cynical cost-cutting measure for the part of the phone you can't even see. It's the brain of the device, the engine that powers everything. They're telling everyone that the iPhone 16e comes with the powerful, brand new A18 chip, making it sound like you're getting the same world-class performance as the much more expensive Pro models. And that is a calculated deception, because the hidden truth, the one they don't put in the big letters on their website, is that the A18 chip inside the iPhone 16e is not the same chip that's in the iPhone 16 Pro. It's a nerfed version. Apple has intentionally disabled one of the GPU cores on the chip they put into the 16e. For the average person, a GPU core might sound like technical jargon, but what it translates to is simple. They are knowingly and deliberately giving 16e users a less powerful, less capable version of their flagship processor. The phone is slower at handling graphics, which affects everything from gaming performance to video editing and other graphically intensive tasks. You are paying a premium price for what you believe is top-tier performance, but you are getting a watered-down, light experience. The question you have to ask is why? Is it really about saving a few dollars on manufacturing costs? Or is it about a much more manipulative strategy? Intentionally crippling the base model to make the Pro models seem that much more appealing. It creates an artificial gap, pushing customers up the price ladder. It's a move that feels less like a business decision and more like a betrayal of trust. This pervasive theme of being left in the slow lane, of being given technology that is intentionally held back, continues with the most basic, fundamental functions of the phone: how you charge it and how you transfer your data. The iPhone 16e, like all new iPhones, comes with a USB-C port. This was a change mandated by regulators meant to bring about a universal standard for faster charging and data transfer. Apple complied, but they did it in the most malicious way possible. While they gave you the modern connector, they backed it with decade-old technology. The USB-C port on the iPhone 16e is limited to USB 2.0 speeds. That's a data transfer rate of just 480 megabits per second. To put that in perspective, the USB-C ports on competing Android phones and even on Apple's own Pro models support speeds that are 20 to 40 times faster. What does this mean in the real world? It means if you shoot a high-resolution video on your new phone and want to transfer it to your computer, you're in for a long, frustrating wait. It's like having a high-performance sports car that's permanently stuck in first gear. And the corner cutting doesn't stop there. The phone notoriously lacks MagSafe, Apple's convenient magnetic charging and accessory system. While it does support standard wireless charging, it does so at painfully slow speeds. In a world where competitors offer blazing fast wired and wireless charging that can get you from 0 to full in under an hour, the iPhone 16e feels stuck in the past. These aren't minor issues, they are daily frustrations, constant reminders that you paid for a phone that was designed to be inconvenient. They cut corners on the screen, the camera, the processor, and the ports, hardware you interact with every single day. But Apple is betting that you'll overlook all of it because of one big, shiny new feature: Apple Intelligence. This is supposed to be their revolutionary entry into the world of AI, the feature that makes the iPhone smarter than ever before. But based on every early review and real-world test, it's not a revolution. It's a buggy, underwhelming, and half-baked public beta test that they are using their customers to troubleshoot. The shocking truth is that Apple's own AI is often so incapable of handling basic queries that Siri simply gives up and defaults to asking if you want to use ChatGPT instead. Let that sink in. Apple's groundbreaking new feature is essentially a glorified shortcut to another company's product. This reveals that Apple's own system simply isn't ready for prime time. But the problems go even deeper than just poor performance. This integration raises serious and troubling questions about your privacy. When your iPhone offloads your requests, your questions, and your personal data to OpenAI's servers, you are no longer protected by Apple's famous privacy promises. You're now subject to the data handling practices of a company with a very different business model and a far more questionable track record when it comes to user privacy. So, Apple is asking you to buy a phone with compromised hardware, all for a headline software feature that barely works and could potentially expose your data. It's not just a gamble, it's a terrible bet. So if the hardware is deliberately compromised and the landmark software feature is a privacy-risking gamble, what else could you actually get for your hard-earned money? The answer is not just surprising, it's a complete and total humiliation for the iPhone 16e. Let's do a direct, hard-hitting comparison. Let's put the iPhone 16e in the ring against its real competitors, the phones that occupy the same price bracket. First up, the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. For the same price, or often less, Samsung gives you a brilliant, massive 120Hz AMOLED display. It gives you a full triple camera system with a dedicated telephoto lens for real optical zoom. Its battery is larger and it supports faster charging. Side by side, the iPhone 16e looks like an antique. Then there's the Google Pixel 8a. Again, for less money, you get one of the smartest cameras on the market, powered by Google's legendary photo processing, along with a host of exclusive AI features that actually work, like Magic Eraser and Best Take. You also get a beautifully smooth, high refresh rate screen. Or consider a challenger brand like OnePlus. A phone like the OnePlus 13R will likely offer a faster 144Hz screen, an even bigger battery, and ridiculously fast charging speeds that can take the phone from empty to full in the time it takes you to have a coffee. When you line them up and compare the spec sheets, the conclusion is brutal and unavoidable. The iPhone 16e is not competitive. It is outmatched on nearly every single metric that matters: screen quality, camera versatility, battery life, and charging speed. For the same amount of money, the competition offers you more features, better technology, and far greater value. By comparison, the iPhone 16e doesn't just look like a bad deal, it looks like a complete ripoff. At this point, the defenders usually retreat to their final fortress, the last argument they have left. But what about the ecosystem? They argue that the seamless integration between the iPhone, Mac, iPad, and Apple Watch, the world of iMessage, AirDrop, and iCloud, is so magical that it's worth all the hardware compromises. They want you to believe that you should gladly accept a worse screen, a worse camera, and a worse battery just to stay inside Apple's golden cage. But it's time to challenge that idea. Is the ecosystem trap still worth it? Features that were once unique to Apple, like easy file sharing and cross-device syncing, are now largely available on other platforms. Google and Microsoft have built robust ecosystems that connect your phone to your PC seamlessly. Messaging apps like WhatsApp and Telegram work identically across all devices. The truth is, the walls of the garden aren't as high as they used to be, and the world outside has become just as beautiful and functional, if not more so. The question you have to ask yourself is a tough one. Are you buying a genuinely great phone, or are you just paying an expensive annual fee to stay locked inside Apple's world? When the hardware itself is so clearly and demonstrably inferior to the competition, the ecosystem stops feeling like a benefit and starts feeling like a justification for making a bad purchase. It's an excuse for settling for less. So when you put all the pieces together, a truly troubling and undeniable picture emerges. You're looking at a phone with an outdated 60Hz screen that feels sluggish from day one. You're getting a severely limited single camera system that restricts your creativity. You're being sold a nerfed, slower version of the A18 chip. You're stuck with snail-like USB 2.0 data transfer speeds and inconveniently slow charging. And you're being offered a half-baked AI system that's buggy and raises serious privacy concerns. All of this is being sold to you for a premium mid-range price, a price at which a dozen other phones offer you a vastly superior experience across the board. The iPhone 16e isn't the smart, affordable entry point into the Apple world. It's a trap. It's a device built for loyal customers who Apple believes will buy anything with their logo on it, no matter how many corners are cut. This phone doesn't ask for your money in exchange for innovation or quality. It asks for your money and offers very little respect in return. The final verdict is clear. Don't waste your money. Apple isn't asking you to pay for their best technology anymore. They're just asking you to pay for the logo. And the real question you need to ask yourself is that logo still worth it?